let's take a look at this Big Ten bracket. All right, let's take a little bit of time looking at this, and then we'll get done. I don't know how much time there is to look at this. If anybody's watching this live, feel free get into the chat. Let me know what you guys think of this Big Ten bracket, because this bracket has some interesting talking points to it, right? All right, you have Michigan State obviously on top. Your top four seeds, if you're listening to this on podcast, your top four seeds are Michigan State, Purdue, Michigan, and Maryland. Your seeds after that are UCLA, Illinois, well, Wisconsin, UCLA, Illinois, Indiana, or Oregon and Indiana. They play a second round matchup. The winner of them will play Michigan State, and then in the first round you have those lower seeded teams. Really, not much is going to change here. If Iowa wins and UCLA loses their last game, you'll get into a tiebreaker scenario there, I believe. And I don't know off the top of my head who wins that tiebreaker scenario. We'll have to do that on another episode. But you have Ohio State and Indiana playing for that ninth spot. That eighth spot is not going to change. Oregon is too far ahead in the standings. You have that Indiana and Oregon, or Indiana and Ohio State playing for that ninth spot. Feels like they're playing for much more than that. They could both be playing for their tournament lives. But I question, what would you rather have here? Would you rather have the path of playing Indiana and Oregon? Would you rather have the path of playing Michigan State and then either Purdue or Wisconsin, most likely? Or would you rather have the path of playing, if you're Ohio State, the 10 seed, would you rather have the path of playing Illinois and then Michigan? Michigan looked a little bit fraudulent so far. I think they're going to correct those things. I think once Sam Walters comes back, if he comes back, hopefully he does for them. But that's going to help them out a lot. I think that's going to provide more three-point shooting for them. But as far as I'm concerned, if it wasn't for the extra game, I would be more in favor of that Illinois and Michigan case there, just because these are two teams. One, Michigan has let other teams kind of hang around with them, and they've lost their last two. And then Illinois has been a little inconsistent this season. I think Illinois has found their stride here lately, evidence of that Michigan game that they won, and we'll see against Purdue if they can keep that going. But Illinois has shown some inconsistencies this year, so there could be a possibility of utilizing that. I see, John, you're saying here the Indiana-Oregon rematch. Hopefully the refs won't be on some BS this time. Yeah, I saw Ant did his what's he call it? His recap or his audit of the refs in that one, and that one was in the Indiana favor. So yeah, I understand, and I like I told people, I agree that Nebraska probably got hosed on some calls in that Ohio State game. I think Ohio State got some hosed on some as well. Nebraska probably did have more, but at the end of the day, Bryce Williams had the chance to win that game with a free throw, and he missed it. So you got the opportunities. Even if the refs are terrible, you still got the opportunities. And Indiana did have some opportunities in that game, but yeah, you do always want a fairly officiated game. I agree with that, John. You do always want the fairly officiated game. And look at that. We got Sonny coming in here. Hit the like button for the homie JR. Yes, me, the homie JR. Please do hit the like button, everybody. I definitely appreciate that. Helps the show, helps the distribution, all that stuff. What helps the distribution the most is putting on a quality show, which, I think I still do a good job by myself, but you guys are the real evaluators on that, so you let me know. But I appreciate everybody here watching. If you are so inclined, please do hit the like button. If you're listening on podcast after the fact, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you don't write anything, it still helps us out. It still helps out the Big Ten Huddle and everything. Really trying to grow the basketball channel a little bit more. That's why we're only streaming these after darks on the basketball channel now, trying to get people to migrate over from the football channel that has over 2,500 subscribers. We appreciate all of them, but I know some of them watch basketball too, so we need to get some of our basketball folks over on the basketball channel as well, trying to do that. So John says it's funny because the women's team also got hosted by Oregon in the regular season. Indiana played Oregon in the Big Ten tournament today, and they beat them by 16. Hey, if you're an Indiana fan, that's what you want, right? Hey, refs, call a fair game. We'll beat you by 16, maybe. I mean, Indiana, they figured a few things out. We'll see. And they gave Oregon a really really good game there until about the end when things fell apart a little bit. But as far as I'm concerned, Indiana can beat just about anybody. I mean, they beat Michigan State, so they can beat anybody in this conference. So scratch that. Not just about anybody. They can beat anybody in this conference. So really, really interesting stuff there. And yeah, the USC, they take on number one USC tomorrow. I'll be honest, I haven't watched a ton of women's hoops this season just because I've been so into the men's and everything. That means it's constant. Like it is action every night in the men's hoops, and so I'm not too much into the women's, but John, best of luck to you against USC. See if you can take down the number one Trojans, because I think it's USC and UCLA. One thing I did see, and I texted Sonny and Ken about this today. If you watch the Power Rankings episode on Monday, I put up that picture of the Cody McMahon McHannon. I forget her name. I apologize. I put her picture up because she was flipping off either the Maryland team or the Maryland crowd or something like that. And apparently she's not with the team anymore. So either she's been suspended or cut or something like that, which that's a huge blow for this Ohio State team because she's one of their better players. But anyway, we don't need to talk about women's hoops that much. Let's get back to the Big Ten tournament discussion. I do wonder what do you guys think? Do you guys think Ohio State has a better path, an easier path with the 10 seed of facing Illinois and then Michigan and then possibly a Maryland, who Maryland has been really good this season, but still, I mean, second game in a row in 2 days, like Maryland's got the crab five. I guess it could be UCLA as well. I don't want to count them out. But Maryland's got the crab five. I find it hard to believe Maryland in their first game of the tournament, just with how much they do rely on those starters, are going to lose the first game of the tournament. But you never know. We'll see what happens. But if you're Ohio State going Northwestern, Illinois, Michigan, either Maryland or UCLA, after they've already played a game or two, I don't know. I don't know. I think Indiana and Oregon might have a more difficult path there of playing either Michigan State and then Purdue or Wisconsin after that. I mean, if it wasn't for the one extra game, and I think that's the biggest thing. It's not so much that Northwestern is that good of a team. I mean, they did smoke Ohio State, so maybe they smoke them again here. But it's not so much that. It is more about just the playing, 3-4 straight days. We saw this Ohio State team try to make a run in the Big Ten tournament 2 years ago, and they did. I mean, they had a good run in that one. I think it was Michigan State that eventually stopped them that year, but they made a good run in the tournament, winning 2 or 3 games, but eventually they just ran out of gas in either their third or fourth game. And so that's why I really don't think you can win the Big Ten tournament unless you are a 9 or higher seed. But I don't think Ohio State needs to win the Big Ten tournament to get into the NCAA tournament. I think that you need to beat Indiana to get in. I don't think that tournament games conference tournament games are quite what they used to be to some of those in the bracketology, especially Big Ten, because the Big Ten tournament is just so late. I don't think they mean nothing, but I do think they mean less than maybe they did previously before. So if Ohio State gets Northwestern, then Illinois, then Michigan, and then a combination of either Maryland or UCLA, if it wasn't for that Northwestern game and playing 4 games straight, I think I would like that path better than playing Michigan State and then either Purdue or Wisconsin after that. I think I would like that path better. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being a little crazy here, but I think I might like that path better. Minnesota, the other team to look at here, they've done a good job of beating teams they're not supposed to beat. So they did just lose to Wisconsin. I mean, that was a competitive game though. So could they possibly win their first game against a USC? Something crazy could happen. We could see it be Iowa, but could they possibly lose that? Maybe they could go in and beat Wisconsin, but you're getting Wisconsin, then you're getting Purdue. That's just a really, really tough stretch. It could happen. It could happen. Minnesota has played Wisconsin tight this season, and they did manage to beat Michigan earlier this season. But I still find that to be a really tough slate for them. On the other end, you have Nebraska. Nebraska losing to Ohio State. Sorry, Cornhusker fans. I know. Talk about refs. You guys are chief among them because you did get screwed in a number of cases. I will admit you did get screwed in a number of cases in that game. But you guys get who is that down there? I can't even see who that is. Oh, Rutgers, of course. Don't know how I couldn't see that there at the beginning. You do get Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper. I mean, if I'm Nebraska, I'm just giving the ball to Bryce Williams and letting him go to work. I mean, this could be a game like that Purdue game where it was 50-41 at halftime, and Bryce Williams, you thought he scored well against Ohio State in that game. Let him go against this Rutgers defense that has been stingy, but let's face it, this Rutgers team has kind of lost confidence as the games go on if things don't start going their way. So if I'm Nebraska, my goal is to get out, get going, and try to bury this team as quickly as I possibly can. Because when Rutgers loses confidence, this is what I've seen the past few weeks. When Rutgers loses confidence, it's over, right? It's over. So if you're Nebraska, get that done. Then you go face UCLA. There's a possibility of getting that win as well. UCLA, if they have a bad shooting night, really struggle from the offensive end. I mean, Nebraska almost won a gritty game against Michigan. Get into another gritty game with UCLA. Take them down. Maryland, again, I find it hard to believe that Maryland is going to lose their first game of the Big Ten tournament just with all that rest and how motivated they'll be. But it could happen, and we'll see.